So today we're getting Betty's mobile home bathroom much closer to being tile ready. If you're new here, we've been rebuilding my sister Betty's mobile home step by step as a family, all on her dollar. And today we're focusing on getting the bathroom's bathtub set in place, sealed and safe so that we know it's not going to leak and get it that much closer to the tile she selected. To get you guys caught up, last week we got the tub set in place and built our own drip edge. Basically, because what this is a drop-in tub that we're trying to install into an alcove, which is usually not the norm at all. But I'm doing as much as I can to make sure it's not going to leak. We're finally at that point where I can go ahead and get the vapor barrier installed, put up the backer board, seal the seams on the backer board, and then get it ready for us to go ahead and seal the backer board and make it waterproof. We're going to put a vapor barrier up.
No, we're not doing that yet. Alright. Trying to help out, buddy. Trying to see where the beginning and the ends will be. I decided if I want to cut it off now. It's like a little hot plastic heated room in here.
Yeah?
It's maintaining my heat
I'm sure.
way too well. That was toasty, but it's done.
We've got the vapor barrier in, and the next steps is to start working on getting the cement backer board installed. I do finally have something in the bottom to step on so that I'm not tracking something in with my big clodhopper boots. So with the vapor barrier up, we know no moisture is going to get behind here. And in mobile homes especially, that's super important. And like I said last week where we left off, I had this bottom placed in. We went ahead and sealed under the part that I kicked out. And then I went ahead and used the flashing tape on top of that. So the next steps we're doing is I need to get the cement backer board up. The bottom pieces being the most important, because what I'm going to do, we're going to cut them to fit, which the normal cement backer board pieces are 3x5, and it looks like I'm going to have to cut 2 inches off of the ones that are going on the back side. So I'll get those cut down, then I'll get one brought in here and set it down so you guys can see the idea of what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and get cutting, and then we'll jump back in here and get this installed. Okay, this is the cement backer board we're using. Now, this specific cement backer board comes with a flat, smooth side and then a rougher side. And literally on the product, it reminds you, even though you can read the instructions on their site, on the USG site, it says smooth side is for mastic, rough side is for mortar. This is the rough side. So we want that side out. So let's see how well my cut was. Nice. I'm happy with that right there. Perfect cut, perfect fit, edge to edge. So normally it doesn't matter. I cut along the length you guys saw me do, and that's going to be the top piece, and it wouldn't matter if I wanted that at the bottom or not. In this case, I decided to go with it at the top. One of the reasons why was because I already spaced this the way I did. So, with that said, I plan to run a bead right along under here. So we're going to put it under this and right along the edge of it. That way we know that even if water got past the tile, it has another layer of silicone it's going to have to get past. Could it soak up into this? Yes, but it has more of a chance to dry. Let's see. If you guys have some shims, I could use those right now because I think it'll help me lift this. So to seal the bottom, I'm going to use a DAP product that's a flexible all-purpose waterproof sealant called Ultra Clear. It's usually used on gutters, roofs, siding, etc. I have found in the past this stuff seals out water very, very well. It's very effective. Alright, I got my driver. I got some screws at the ready. Clean off as much debris. Not Drew Breeze, debris as possible. Okay, got that first sticky bead on. Now carefully bring this in. I'm going to just set it straight down. We don't really want to smear it around. Okay, in we go. Don't bump everything, you smoothie. Okay, use the ledge, get in, think through it smartly. In we go. Make sure we're up against it. Straight down. Come on. There we go. There we go. Squish it. Nice. Let's go ahead and get me a screw or two to hold this together real quick. All right, let me show you guys real quick up close. So you see I've got that bead running right along it and just barely coming out, but it's good and thick and touching it the whole way. So I want to do that all three sides. Nice thick bead along the bottom, set it straight down. It should hold, squish out, and it's coming past this flashing tape that I've got here along this edge, right along here. In fact, I'm putting the bead right on it so that it's partly over one direction, partly over the other direction. Therefore, I know that that thing's also encased. Squish this stuff down like it is. That's a good solid bead. All right, I gotta do these two sides, and it's kind of standard operation after that. So there we have the bottom basically set up. I want this to actually cure over the next 12 to 24 hours and come back tomorrow and check and just see what I think of it. And then I'll go ahead and get all the upper section done. I also want to get this hole done, so I'll save that for tomorrow. For you guys, it's going to be right now. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours. That gave this some time to cure. And I'm poking around just to double check. Looking for shrinkage. Making sure that it's sealed. I mean, I know it'll expand and contract, which is one of the reasons we're using silicone, so that it does get that ability to expand and contract. But, yep, looking around, wow, that feels good right there. No gaps. no gaps. So with that cured up enough, I know that as I run the screws, which is one of the reasons I waited, it's not going to just get all this gooky, dirty stuff on it. I ran minimum screws into the backer board for now, just so that I didn't have a bunch of the cement fall down on it and then get into it, just because I didn't want to have to deal with having to clean that off. But now we're going to go ahead and get the rest of the backer board up. A couple pieces, couple screws up here so that I don't have to magically hold this the whole time. Oh no. Alright, so I got a little excited, I guess, guys. I cut the width, that's correct, but I forgot to account for the height. So, be right back. I'm going to take these right back out, get them cut real quick on the height, and then come back in. Got a little bit excited there. Okay, try that again here. Oh, ta-da! Ta-da! All right, there we go. This is really satisfying. We have all the backer board up. We've gotten it sealed along the bottom, like I said, 3 times sealed. So that should prevent water, if it ever gets past the tile, from getting in, which that was the big goal of how I had to figure this out. So I guess the next steps is we get to go ahead and do the RedGuard, right? We get to seal it.
No, silly.
What do you mean, no?
There's another step.
Oh, there's another step. Okay. So the next steps before we would waterproof, as I was just saying before we use the RedGuard seal to waterproof everything, I need to go ahead and use thin set on all the cracks and the corners. We use the thin set to fill them in just like you would with drywall when you're putting that together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get the thin set up. Hopefully I can get it all up and done tonight. That way tomorrow I can go ahead and do the first coat of the waterproofing. So before I do the thin set, I'm going to go ahead and tape off the exterior, just in case I make any messes. We don't want any of that. And then I'll mix up some thin set mortar and start working on all the cracks and crevices. So to fill that in, we're going to have to mix ourselves up a small batch of mortar. The last time I mixed up mortar, I had a heck of a time because I mixed up too much. This time I weighed it out, I measured it out, and measured the water and everything. So I've got 5 pounds of mortar, and the water matches it. This part's the simplest part, honestly. So a lot of people have, a lot of places say add water, make sure it's cold, then add the mortar. I've never honestly seen the difference doing it either way. It's all about mixing it. So making sure we get a good thorough mix. And that looks like the right peanut butter consistency. So now we just let it sit there for 5 minutes. Set your timers. And slake. We'll mix it again and we'll be ready to roll. While this slakes up, let's go ahead and get our seams ready. Okay, while the mortar slakes up, we'll go ahead and get these seams ready with the special seam tape that they have available for Can't get a hold of it. It's child resistant. Okay, while the mortar takes its 5 minutes to slake up, we'll go ahead and get these seams ready. And what I'm using is a special, extremely sticky tape that's meant for this kind of stuff. You literally can find it just about any department where... let's get it on straight. Anyway, you can find this in the same department that the seam tape is in. And since there's just a few lines usually, just get this out of the way while that slakes up. We'll take advantage of that time. Do this. No breaks for us today. No rest for those of us that are wicked. Wicked? Sure, why not? Wicked. So basically the concept when you're filling these seams with mortar is exactly the same as if you were filling the drywall seams somewhere. Super sticky, alkyd-free tape is ready. Sticky, sticky. Let's go finish that stir job real quick. Let me get in here and start getting this thin set placed where it belongs. Okay, final step here before we go apply. Make a stir job. Alright, let's go get that stuff applied. So like I was saying, literally almost the same concept as if you're doing drywall mud. Fill the gap, level it out. Fill the gap, level it out. Also, when you're doing this, don't forget to fill the screw holes. All right, there we go. We've officially got all the mortar up. Now it can set up and cure for about 20 to 24 hours. Everybody's flat and level. All the gaps are filled. Stop touching it, stop touching it. You just gotta know when good enough is good enough. Anyway, all the gaps are filled, it's flat, level, and it can now set up for about the next 24 hours. Then we can move into that final important step. So we'll go ahead and let this set up for a good day and see where we're at next. First, we need to tell the viewers the cement backer board is up and the mortar has had time to cure. She says the cement backer board, hold on.
The cement backer board is up and the mortar's had time to cure.
Which means now what do we do?
Now we're gonna put paper down so that we can put on RedGuard.
Do you know what that is?
It's a moisture barrier.
It is a
Waterproof and crack prevention membrane.
So we're going to put on some RedGuard to seal it. It's a waterproofing membrane. It's recommended that it goes on at 30 mils. 30 mils is about the thickness of a credit card.
It's kind of thicker.
It is. And this is a thicker product, but it rolls on just like paint. It goes on just like paint. We're going to do it in 2 coats. Betty's going to work this first coat and get it done. It goes on pink, and of course when it's red, it's ready. And then we can do a second coat tomorrow, which I'll probably end up doing. A faster coat. So she's going to focus on getting this first coat up. It's super simple. She'll tell you the technique of painting, because that's all it is. And then of course using a brush to get into the hard to reach corners and stuff and around things that normally would be here, but we're going to be installing after she picks her fixtures. So she's going to roll it top to bottom, try not to drip all over, and I'm going to fix a boo-boo that we're going to discuss while she does this in kind of a fast pace, and I'll tell you.
It's my boo-boo?
No, it's my boo-boo.
Okay. We both have boo-boos.
The moisture sandwich.
Fix my mistakes, Lyman.
Meanwhile, I'm gonna go figure out some trim.
Okay.
Waiting, Nana. Waiting.
Hi, Nana, baby.
So RedGuard is kind of thick, like really thick paint.
Say hi. This is Nala.
So we're gonna do about 1/3 of the container in there for her first coat. And then we'll kind of see where it's at. Maybe a little more than 1/3. Mmm, yummy. Snacks. And then, like I said, just before you start doing that, I need to grab a thing and just scrape those down to make sure nothing's high. Once this is on it, it's on it. So we want to knock down any bumpies.
Down the only road I've ever known. Okay. Generous. He said generous. Wow, that's big. Okay. Here goes nothing. Feels like it needs to be more. Feels like it needs to be more. Nice thick layer. Okay. Generous. Generous layer. Generous layer. We'll see. We'll ask the boss. Lemon! Inches.
Looks good for a first coat.
Waited till the end to get the bottom just so I didn't pick up a bunch of debris with it, but
Looks good for the first coat.
good for the first coat. Okay.
Let's keep all that back in there because that's expensive. My sister Betty got that first coat of the RedGuard sealant on. She did a really good job. Everything's coated at least once thoroughly, which is the basic requirements. It's going to need a second coat, but you want to give it 12 to 24 hours to fully cure up this first coat. Then you can come back, hit it with that second coat, double check everything, double do corners, the mortar, all of it. But while this takes time to cure, let's go over where I screwed up almost permanently, but we can still fix it. So, at the beginning, my biggest concern was moisture going over the edge. That's still a concern, but we figured out the best way to resolve the problem. We added our own lip and dealt with that. I've also gotten some great comments from people who have said that they've had the same tub, never had a problem, they didn't worry about it. So, but to be safe, we did it this way. But one of the things I did was I put a vapor barrier behind all 3 walls, knowing I was going to also be sealing the moisture on this side with RedGuard. Now, technically, that's a moisture no-no. That was weird. Oh. My tools. That was sketchy. Anyway, technically that's a moisture no-no, because what you're doing is you're creating what they call a moisture sandwich. It means that if for some reason, Lord forbid, moisture gets behind the RedGuard, then it's in on the cement backer board. And it has nowhere to escape if I've got a vapor barrier behind there. So, being in the industry I'm in maintenance, I called a couple of contractors I know, was able to get one to go ahead and answer some simple questions for me, and he says, well, I haven't fully screwed up yet. He understands what we're trying to do with the water management, and he says basically the way I've done that is probably the best it's going to get without a lipped tub. But what he says is up high, where normally in a lot of older homes, you would just have your tub surround and drywall. We shouldn't have to worry about water getting way up there unless somebody's doing something crazy with a hose. So what he suggests is cutting the vapor barrier, either do slits and a bunch of them or just cut it out above this section that I have. So up here, cut it with slits or cut it out. Up here, cut it with slits or cut it out. And the same thing up there. Now, 2 of these are doable. This one's going to be a piece of cake because we basically have this set up for a cubby that's going to be here. These shelves. It's going to be a built-in wood thing. It's going to be pretty cool. She needs that. It's also to hide our plumbing, our duct work, all that. So up here, I can just reach up there and cut away. Over here, because we planned ahead, this is the back side of the tub. We know we're going to have a lot of plumbing in here, and we wanted it to be accessible at any time. Here's where we're going to set up her tub spout handle. She's going to have a single handle or whatever. And of course, here's where we drilled the hole for the shower piece. This will connect into everything. And of course, a tub spout down at the bottom. So I can get up in here and cut those slits. I might have to tape this to a stick and just reach up in there. I can cut the slits over there or cut the plastic out. That's going to take care of the moisture on 2 of the 3 walls. Now the 3rd wall, I don't know. Kind of in a pickle on how to get to that. It's not accessible from here. One of the things he recommended was just letting it be on the 3rd wall. Just reaching down the best I can and just make some slits. He says if these walls are all interconnected, the moisture could still escape if it got trapped between this plastic vapor barrier and the membrane I did. So like I said, I screwed up. I caught the screw up though. It's fixable. It's not permanent yet. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that real quick, get that out of the way so we know that we're not going to have a moisture sandwich that'll create the big M word. Oh, I can actually reach that. That's good. Kind of weird doing this. I feel like it might have been a little waste. But again, we don't want to create a moisture sandwich, so they call it. And
far as moisture management goes, that takes care of that. We still have this as the built-in lip, flashed, sealed, double sealed, triple sealed. Of course, we still have a bead of silicone inside. So I gotta make sure we don't have any moisture that gets in here and ever just stays trapped forever. Honestly, I'd rather make sure she's safe and not sorry. At least I was able to handle the situation. It was a screw up. Like I said, I was overly concerned about certain parts, but able to fix it before it got too deep and done at everything in the way, and 2 years down the road with mold problems. So handled now is better than dealing with a problem later. I'm glad I was able to catch the error of my ways and still had time to go ahead and fix the boo-boo. So with that all handled and out of the way, we know that that's not going to turn around to bite us down the road. In the meantime, we need to let this cure up, get that second coat on, and then I'll catch you guys right after I get that done. Okay, so this is day 2 of the application, and we've allowed it a good solid 24 hours to cure. Now technically, this is already waterproof, but the big recommendation they make on the RedGuard is at least 2 coats. It's one of the ways you're going to get to that 30 mils of thickness that you need. So, and the second application is honestly no different than the first application, except it's going to go on a lot faster and easier because we're not trying to get it on extremely thick. So I'll get that moving, and then we should be good to go on that for the time being. We'll see. Use the brush in the corners. It gets it in there nice and thick, and of course knowing that the corners are where the seams are, those are going to be some of our weakest points. So, you know, a brush having it on there even thicker is better compared to just a roller. All right, there we go. All pink again. This is great because this is another big milestone in Betty's mobile home renovation, especially for the bathroom. Once this waterproofing cures, we'll finally be ready to go ahead and get her tile on. She's shopping for that, and we have a little bit of time. We're not in a big rush on this part because we do have some other things we need to work on first. This bathroom's going to have quite the features when it's all done. A lot of awesome things crammed into just such a small bathroom. It's just under 8 feet by 8 feet. We're going to have everything you can possibly have to make it nice. All right, guys, that's 2 coats completely on. And when I pulled the tape, I did have one really small spot that I'd accidentally pulled the RedGuard off with the tape. So do be careful when you're pulling the tape. But that's both coats of RedGuard completely on. So we are 100% sealed up here and ready for the next steps. Now the next steps is going to be weeks down the road, but at least we know that's done, and that's a huge milestone in Betty's mobile home renovation, especially for this bathroom. When we started, you all know this bathroom needed everything and absolutely didn't look like this. Now we're drywalled. We've got a giant soaker tub installed. We've got completely sealed and waterproof walls that are ready for Betty's tile choices. The toilet's installed. The floor is actually in. The vanity is painted and ready for a new countertop and sink and everything. And then we've got the new cubby that's all ready for her to have a cool storage spot. So, I mean, just huge milestone for this mobile home. We're literally just right at the edge of having this thing done. But overall, it's leaps and bounds difference compared to what we started with. I'm really happy that Betty was able to be here and learn the basic concept of waterproofing the backer board before the tile went on. And she's really excited to learn the basics of tiling, and she really wants to start tiling soon. So we'll get there though. Over the next few weeks, I have some unique video ideas planned. I hope that everybody will enjoy them. There will still be progress on the home. I have a special video I'm working on that'll probably be more like a midweek drop for just everybody. And then something a little more entertaining that still involves the home. And then we also have a bunch of catching up to do. And then very, very, very soon, we have a lot of door work we got to share with you guys. You know, being able to do all this work on Betty's mobile home renovation with my parents and with Betty, and teaching Betty and people things along the way, it's been really awesome. And having you guys along for this journey has been really awesome too. You inspire us in so many ways to just keep pushing and keep moving forward. So, you know, thank you so much for taking the time to make it this far in the video. And when you're doing these kinds of projects and putting your heart and soul into it like we've been doing, even when you get frustrated, I need you guys to remember to tell yourself, I can fix that, because we actually believe you can fix that too.